Hello everyone. I'm with Akira Complex right now. So we got a bunch of questions asked on Discord, which we made specifically for this video to get like interview Akira Complex a bit.
Yeah.
So
On to questions.
yeah, so we're going to get some of like more of like in general like a personal questions. We also got like deep sound design kind of question.
Throw them at me.
Yep. So I'm gonna do English questions first.
Yes.
So first one, do you have a genre you'd like to challenge yourself to make a track?
Probably Speed Garage.
Oh, Speed
that-
Garage.
Yeah, that's something that I haven't really like. I have a few like works in progress, but I haven't really like released anything like that.
Oh,
So it's just something I'm kind of interested in.
like a very melodic and all those stuff.
Yeah, I like all like the chops of it, and it's just
Oh.
like a very like varied genre. So I'd like to definitely make some stuff like that.
Yeah, I would like to hear that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Second one, what's your most used plugin of VST? Maybe they're talking about the external ones. That's not stock, maybe. I mean, you can answer stock and non-stock too.
Okay, for stock,
Yeah.
probably Cytomic Glue and Ableton.
Oh yeah, Cytomic
Yes.
Blue. I use it on FL Studio too.
Oh, I see. Does the VST version have the soft clipper? Because I mostly use it as a soft clipper.
Oh, I don't know then. Like I use it for glue, so.
I see. Yeah, that's probably what I use the most. In terms of like non-stock, like instrument stuff, probably Viper by Adam Szabo. I don't know
Yeah,
how to say his
Adam
name.
Szabo, yeah.
Yeah, Szabo.
And
Um,
then, how about like effects?
effects. Probably the Manny Marroquin EQ.
Oh, EQ, interesting.
Yeah, just cause like I can pretty much achieve anything that I want, like with that specific EQ. So I'm always reaching for it, like kind of more than Pro Key these days.
Wow. So yeah, Pro Q is very good. Like, I started using like some other EQs, like Crave EQ and stuff, but I always come back to Pro Q3.
Yeah, I mean I use it a lot, like for surgical stuff, and I like the dynamic EQ like
How do you think
options
like
there.
how do you think about like EQ8 and Pro Q3? Is there like any big difference?
There's actually like huge differences. So EQ8 is like it's not really like transparent. But Pro Q3 you can throw it on and it won't really like disrupt a signal too much. It's not that destructive. But EQ8 is a little bit more destructive, so I don't really reach for it that much.
Do you use Pro Q3 on linear phase or natural phase or zero latency?
Zero latency or natural phase, depending on what I'm processing.
Uh-huh.
If I'm just processing like something like a neurobase or something, then like zero latency is just it works fine because it sounds transparent enough. I don't really need to like worry about not disrupting the phase too much.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing something like mastering, of course, then like I'll use linear phase. But like if I'm doing like things that require me to be a little bit more like transparent than the zero latency,
Oh.
then
Nice.
I'll go for the natural phase.
Yeah, natural phase is very good actually. Like I don't like really hear that much of difference, but
I mean, you don't really like hear phase stuff until it's like paired up with other
mix.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, natural phase does a good thing on mix. So I always use a natural phase as well.
It's definitely good and not like CPU intensive.
Yeah. So, the next question being, do you ever get tired of making music?
Uh, um, yeah, yes.
Like all the time? Or
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's it's really fun, and it's the thing that I'm always thinking about doing. Like,
mm-hmm.
I always want to make music, but sometimes I'm required to like do things for certain projects, and I have like health issues and stuff, so it's like
Oh
it's a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit difficult and frustrating because it's like I want to make music, but I have other things to focus on at the same time, so
Do you
my
want to
life.
talk? Do you want to talk about your health issues as well? Like,
I mean, sure, why not? Like, if you have questions about it.
I mean, yeah, like in general, like,
Yeah. So I just have like I have a fractured like disc. It's my L5 disc. It like just never healed up, and now it's kind of fucked, and it causes me like a lot of pain. So it makes making music a little hard. So yeah, I get sick of it sometimes because it's like I'll be in pain while trying to finish a project, and that is just the worst. But it is like getting better nowadays, so it's like becoming less of a problem, and I'm
mm-hmm.
able to like enjoy it a little bit more.
Nice.
Yeah.
The next question. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received from another musician?
Honestly, just like arrangement first
Mm-hmm.
is probably like the best thing. That was actually from Kirikou, who like kind of drilled that into my brain because she was like making tracks so quickly. So it was like, oh shit, like how are you doing that? And she just kind of sets out an arrangement first and then like puts on like the details afterwards.
Ah.
Yeah, so it's a really efficient way of working. Like, you'll set up your drums and effects and things like that, and then suddenly you have like 3+ minutes of a song or something, and then it's like, okay, I can go in and do all the sound design and engineering side of stuff
Mm-hmm.
like now, you know. So, arrangement first, especially like drums first is like big tip.
Nice. Like you don't go for mixing first and stuff, right?
Yeah, like instinctively I do. Like because I like to make sound good obviously, but if they sound good by themselves but there's no context, there's no like entire mix for them to work in,
Mm-hmm.
then it's kind of pointless that they sound good. So just like structure out a track and then
Okay.
like do all that stuff and you'll end up with the same result or better.
So, like you have to get material to work with first and stuff, right?
Yeah, basically, like have multiple instruments and whatnot.
Oh, nice. So like my like a priority thing.
Yeah, it's definitely like you have to think of priorities when you're like making a track. It's like
Mm-hmm.
easy to get lost and like, oh, I have this really good idea, let me pursue it. Because sometimes that starts out with like sound design or like a melody or something that you want to make sound great or add all these effects to, but it's like just try and get the rough idea down first and then, like arrange it and then you can do all the fun shit afterwards.
Yeah, so it's like a do it rather than thinking.
Yeah, basically. Like try and have like a formula every time you go into your DAW and you'll have like better results.
Nice. It's gonna be very hard to get onto that routine if you know, especially if you worked for like the same style over the decade or something, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Was it was
But
it was it very hard to get onto that routine for you?
uh definitely like I would like find myself just trying to mix like three different elements at once
Mm-hmm.
and that was like it and then suddenly I have like this really really good sounding 30-second loop but it's like that does me no good.
Oh,
So yeah,
yeah, I had it too.
especially since like I've had to like kind of make a high volume of tracks
Uh-huh.
recently. Um then I've had to like really focus on okay, arrangement first and like not focus on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like attention to detail usually comes last. So
Yeah, for sure.
you have to get demos to send first nowadays, actually. So
Yeah, that's another thing is if you get in the habit of like structuring tracks and stuff,
yeah.
people want demos. Like ultimately, they want like a full length thing. If it's for a vocalist, then if you have that, then they can record over it, and you can just like write a top line or something. Um, if it's for like some company or something, then it's like you can send them that and they'll understand like the idea that you have. They'll be able to like fill in the blanks. So
Mm-hmm.
very important.
Nice. So the next one being thoughts on AI generated music and art.
I think it's like there's a lot of okay, music first and art second because they're both like two different things
Yeah,
in my
yeah, yeah.
opinion. So AI generated music, there's always been like randomization tools. There's a lot of like even modular artists who rely on like randomization. Um, but like when it comes to AI generated like music itself, I feel like it probably won't get to the point to where like you like you and me can like put out tracks and they'll have all this detail. I don't think it'll
No,
have the same detail,
no.
but I do like agree with like AI tools, like even Isotope Nectar. They introduce like a AI vocal mixing thing, and it's like for beginners, and they can just like go in, slap in a vocal, and then like all of a sudden it'll sound like a lot better because it'll like identify the material and treat it like how it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So like I like agree with that. I think that's good. But
Like,
yeah,
it's good for helping out, right?
yeah, just as tools, it's good. As overall songs, it's probably not gonna be that good. At
I
least not for
mean,
a while.
yeah, I mean, it's I mean, I understand how like songwriting, like a MIDI part will be like AI like generatable for me, but
Yeah,
like
I think
not
so.
not the sound design and the whole structure of the music.
Yeah, people will like use tools like they've been doing this for like a while to where they'll like um define like a scale or something, whether it's like modular or in like
Yeah.
your DAW, they'll like set a scale and then like basically have random notes being triggered, but it'll sound nice because it's all within the same scale. Things like that is like it's useful, it's helpful for generating ideas. Um,
Yeah, like music is too.
it's too nuanced.
Yeah, like you have some instrument that is played by your hand. You have some instruments that's recorded by MIDI and stuff. But
Yeah.
and each synthesizer has a different sound as well. So
Exactly. So it's like, you're losing all those nuances if you're trying to just replicate it by,
yeah,
an AI that has read like other material and
and we
stuff.
can just tell, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like if if it doesn't sound good, it's not gonna sound good.
Yeah,
But AI generated art is like a totally different thing. I don't really agree with it like whatsoever. It does like draw from other people's illustrations and stuff. I've seen a lot of like discourse about this.
hmm,
But yeah, since it does draw from other people's illustrations, then there'll be like little bits of other people's work essentially inside like the finished product from the AI. So it just, it's not really fair to those artists, I think. Um and also it just like it doesn't come out that great or like that different from the source material. So, but it's good for like, you can type in like Ujiko getting like hit in the head with a hammer or something. It might work,
that
but
if that's
that's fine.
yeah, if that's AI generatable, like like specific sound, it will be very nice actually. But
Yeah, for sure.
like there are physical modeling and stuff right now.
Yeah, yeah. I've tried like a bunch of different AI tools and for like flute sounds and things like that, it's like okay. but overall it's like it doesn't sound like someone like playing it. And already enough, like as artists, it's like difficult enough to get like a realistic violin sound, or like, you
Yeah.
know, realistic like flutes or things like that. um so it's like we're already pretty far from that, so I don't think it's gonna be like a big like help
Yeah.
anytime soon.
I mean, AI thing like a neutron is not like not to the point where it's like so useful for the genre we're making. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
yeah,
it's definitely like helpful to have like Neutron and Nectar both have like the AI
yeah.
stuff
I,
in
di- I
there
didn't
to
know. I
like,
didn't know Nexa was like that. So I just
yeah,
purchased.
yeah,
I just
it's like
purchased
that now.
Nexa.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it. But yeah, it's pretty good, but ultimately I'm probably gonna like set my own vocal chain anyway.
Nice. So the next one, um, how do you do sound selection, especially on drums? Like
Um,
do you have any specific element that you want or on your drums, or do you have like is it like sort of rule that you have when you get to certain drums in certain genre or BPM, or do you have any sort of something like that?
I think there's like specific rules to follow to get like tight, good sounding drums, like no matter what
Mhm.
like the genre is. Um, I think like if you have to take a sample and then you have to do some sort of destructive processing in order to make it sound good, then there's probably a better sample out there for you.
Mhm.
Um, you know, or like if it's like a snare or something, I think paying attention to like the high end is really important, because it's like if you think about what a snare or clap or something does in the context of a song, it serves as like a white noise kind of purpose.
Mhm.
Just like it is high end, like ultimately that's what cuts through. That's like, the purpose that it serves. So if you're able to like get like a sound that has like a good high end from the get go for like a clapper snare. You won't have to do destructive processing on it. You won't have to throw on a bunch of plugins just to make it sound good. So, I guess if you just think about it as like, okay, like, does the sample like serve the purpose of my song? And do I have to like do a bunch of shit to it? Yes or no is like kind of what I ask myself.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because I don't, my snares doesn't serve white noise purposes. It's like more of like a body kind of stuff
I
for
mean,
me.
there is that like aspect too. There's like multiple aspects to it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
like,
For you,
um,
for you, it's a white noise, like very cut through high kind of stuff you want, right?
yeah, for
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I just wanted to clear that out because, people would, the beginner would think that white noisy snare is the best snare for their
Well,
songs as well. So,
yeah, I just kind of mean from like a rhythmic standpoint, like, and like from a frequency standpoint, then it's like snares as opposed to like kicks. Like kicks are gonna be, from whatever hertz until like 300 or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sometimes like 500 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like, it doesn't have like white noise or like any high end or anything usually. But snares, it's just like that's in your song. It
Mm-hmm.
like serves like a rhythmic high end, like high frequency purpose. So um, if it's like lacking that, then I probably won't pick that snare, because otherwise I'll have to like do EQing to emphasize that, or something like that. But yeah, that's basically how I like choose those kind of samples.
Nice. Okay, so next one. What ways to spark some inspiration to your songs?
I would say like randomization, like I said earlier. Like I use a lot of like Max for Live devices. or just like even like sporadically like throwing stuff into the piano roll,
Mm-hmm.
just like clicking around, can help with rhythmic stuff. Um, and then just as for melodic stuff, I can't really offer like much advice on that because it's like I just kind of feel out stuff on the keyboard, and it's like if I'm doing the same thing over and over, like playing the same kind of chord sequences, then it's like, oh, let me like move down the keyboard or like try this kind of like voicing and stuff, something that I wouldn't like normally do. Um, I guess just do shit you wouldn't normally do, and that'll help.
Nice. Um, the next one being, what is your all-time favorite album?
Album?
Album, yeah. By anyone.
Ah, that's really difficult. Um,
You can
they're
name
all
you can name few.
yeah. So definitely, I have like a couple in my head. So, Airfield Color Swim is really good by School Food Punishment. There's actually my favorite song of all time on there, which is You May
Oh,
Crawl. It's really really good. Um,
Airfield Color Swim. Okay, School Food Punishment.
yeah, it's super super good.
Wait, is that a Japanese band?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
no,
really good.
nice.
But that's pretty much my favorite. All of their albums are like fantastic, so it's hard
Mhm.
to like choose. That's actually like an EP, but RPG is also really good, another album from them.
Oh,
But anything by School Food Punishment is like my favorite.
nice. I didn't even know about this band.
Yeah, no, they're really really good. There's lots of like weird like synth stuff going on in there.
Hmm.
Like lots of like really noisy stuff, so I think you'll really like it.
Okay. So another question. What is Akira Complex?
Uh
What your like? What is your name based off? Or
oh, okay. So first part, the Akira part is like obviously everyone knows Akira, like
uh-huh.
the movie and the manga and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the complex part is like Ghost in the Shell standalone complex.
Oh.
So yeah, both of those things like really influenced me a lot in my music, especially Ghost in the Shell. Um, so yeah, they kind of like helped make even my current sound. I still reference like that material. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's
Nice.
basically like it.
Okay. So I have a few more questions from English audiences.
Yes.
What is your favorite Synth. Sorry. You can name a few from hardware to software.
I would say okay, so hardware, my two favorite synths, like my favorite of all time is obviously the Virus TI. I like talk about that all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
And
Oh, you're talking
that-
about Virus TI too, right?
yeah, Virus
Okay,
TI.
okay.
Well, they're both like the same. The TI2 only just like has added DSP stuff
Oh,
and
okay.
like
So,
yeah, you can do
okay,
more
so,
voices.
so like if Virus TIs.
Yeah, so TI1, TI2, they're both good. And I would say the Behringer TD3.
Oh yeah,
Kirikou,
TD3. Yeah,
yeah, Kirikou actually got me one for my birthday.
yeah.
Um,
Yellow
and
one, right?
it's blue.
Oh, blue. Okay.
Yeah,
Is it like a transparent one?
no, it's just blue.
Oh, okay. Nice.
But it has like a built-in distortion that sounds really nice. So it sounds like a really authentic 303. So I
Mhm.
use it a lot. But in terms of software synthesizers, honestly, anything by Tone 2. Like I use Tone 2 Icarus 2 a lot nowadays. Um, it,
Oh,
it
Icarus. Yeah, Icarus is so nice.
yeah, but Icarus 2, they like added like kind of like a deep blue glitch like type of thing into
Mhm.
it. So you can like make a synth patch and glitch it out at the same time in the same plugin. So it's pretty cool.
What I like about Icarus 2 is built-in sequencer.
Yeah, the
That's
sequencer is really good.
on the bottom left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is so good.
Yeah, for sure. Everything about it is really good. Like all the like built-in effects are excellent. Like I've been
Yeah.
using.
You know,
Like,
it doesn't sound phasey at all.
yeah, it doesn't. It sounds like really nice and just like natural, and they keep adding effects. It's really cool.
How about other
Um,
stuff from Tone 2, like Electra or
oh, well, Electra is really, really good. I've used that like probably I have at least one instance in every single song, simply because you can stack up to like 4 different layers within one like synthesizer. So
so
if
do
you
you
make
do you use Electra 2 or do you still use Electra X?
I use Electra too.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Electra 2 is excellent. Icarus 2 is excellent. Saurus is great.
Saurus, yeah, Saurus. I was thinking about
Um,
Saurus, yeah.
Gladiator is really good. I don't use it a ton, but I do have like a license for it. But yeah, like it's good, but I can't really get the hang of it. But like the presets are really good, so when I do use it, I'm always using the presets.
Yeah, for me, like more like two synthesizers I use most from Tone 2, Icarus and Electra.
I
So,
see. Yeah, me too. Like those are definitely my like most used.
do you remember like a freeware synthesizer by Tone 2 in like 2011 or something, like a Firebird?
Yeah, Firebird.
Yeah, Firebird. Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually I've used that like a bit, but I can't find it on the internet anymore. I was gonna like recommend it to like people in this Discord, but I can't find it anymore. And I asked the Tone 2 developers about it, but they have a new like synth that's like the successor to it, Tone 2
Oh.
Warlock, but that's not freeware. So yeah, I don't think it's like free download anymore.
I wish they kept it.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, like I'm like tight with them, so
How about Yuhi stuff? Do you use any Yuhi stuff? Like,
Zebra is really really good.
oh yeah, Zebra. Yeah.
It
Of
makes
course,
like
you're gonna choose Zebra because it's least phase sound.
yeah, exactly. Um,
Least phasey of all. Like,
it's really good for like acid stuff. Like the filter types in there
yeah,
are
yeah.
really really excellent. I
For
would
me,
say
for me,
if
like
you're gonna
Zebra is very good at plucks.
yeah, it's super good at Plux. Like, I don't know. I feel like if you were to pick like one Yuhi synth that was like best suited for like dance music, then I would say Zebra is the best.
Yeah, I think so. But I would choose Diva all day.
Diva's really good.
Yeah.
But it's really, really like way too CPU intensive. There's a
Yeah,
lot of like
nowadays.
stuff going on there,
But
so
they added multi-core button, so they got so much better.
yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
it's still kind of heavy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Diva and Repro 5 are the most like heaviest DC plugins I've owned. Like,
Yeah.
it's
A
so
repro is
bad.
extremely CPU intensive, but it sounds like really authentic to like the Prophet stuff, so
Yeah. So
pretty good.
that's a question from English audiences, but I feel like I have one question that is very important.
Yeah.
What kind of PC do you work on?
It's just like a pre-built that I got off Amazon.
Yeah, yeah.
That I've like upgraded. Yeah, it's like 6 core, so like 12 core hyper-threaded, and I have 32 gigs RAM, or is it 64? I think I have 64 now.
Windows
Um,
10?
yeah,
Okay, yeah. Windows 10, Ableton Live 11?
yeah, Ableton Live 11.
Okay, so you're pretty much up to date now.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
what's your CPU?
I'd have to check, but it is an i7 of some sort.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So not like a superpower PC kind of stuff.
it's not like that good a PC. I mostly rely on like Ableton's freezing to like make things less CPU intensive. So it's like even if I'm making some crazy sound to where I end up using like Ozone and a bunch of other like CPU intensive plugins, then once I hit freeze, then it's just almost it's like bounce to audio. But if you want to unfreeze it and like tweak parameters and stuff again, then you can do that.
Oh.
So Ableton is extremely handy for that. So that's part of the reason why I probably won't use any other DAW.
Ah, okay, nice. Yeah, like FL Studio, you can't even like freeze properly. So.
Yeah. Also, Bitwig is really, really good, and Kirikou uses that. But I used it for a while. But the like freezing, like bounce and place thing, it just doesn't like work as well as
Yeah.
like Ableton's.
Like for me, best DAW when it comes to freezing is a Studio One, but
Yeah.
you can just bounce by hitting like a B button, so
Yeah.
and then it appears on like a bottom of your track that you're working on. It's so easy. I wish I kept using Studio One a bit, but I don't know if I am doing like MIDI heavy stuff like now if I kept using Studio One. So
Yeah, for sure. I think just like the combination between the freezing and the Max for Live devices makes me not want to switch from anything, like to anything. I mean,
Oh,
but
I have one more question. Sorry. From English audiences.
yes.
Like I don't know what this question means, but where would you recommend starting when learning new genres that are quite far away from what you're generally experienced with?
Um,
Like for
I
example, pivoting from orchestral to trance or dubstep.
okay, that's definitely like a big
Big jump,
transition.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You could go for like a Andrew Bayer kind of trance though. Like
Yeah, like yeah, you could like honestly, if you listen to like Goriella, and things like that, then it sounds like, like classical arrangements, but it's like trance instruments.
yeah,
So I guess yeah, Tenshi, you could,
Tenshi, yeah.
yeah, it just it. I'm sure there's probably like a string arrangement out there for it that sounds like it was written that way.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I guess like from orchestral, you could just writing wise go into anything because assuming you like know hella
Maybe
music theory.
maybe you could learn like maybe you could learn what genre is on like electronic music.
Yeah, I would say like maybe just like watch some YouTube videos. Anytime I want to like produce a new genre or
Hmm.
something, I'll just like watch a YouTube video and then I'll get like the general gist of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And usually, at least with electronic music, then no matter what you're making, there's a lot of the same rules and concepts and stuff. So, you can kind of jump from genre to genre. It doesn't really matter. Just like if you want to make something that's radically different than what you like normally make, then keep making it. Like, because if you keep making it and are like persistent with it, then it's like you'll get really good at that genre and then you could just like move on to another genre, do the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of the same like rules shared. So it's not really something to worry about as a beginner.
Okay. Nice. Moving on to the Japanese questions. I'm gonna translate it for you. So,
Yay.
the first question for the beginner, what would you recommend doing like a first when you get into the music production?
What do you mean
I
specifically?
mean like you know, for me, I would say like just copy someone's song first and then learn like the structure of it. Like those general terms of like music for beginners.
Yeah, I would say if you are a beginner, like you have absolutely no knowledge of like anything, like recreating things that you like is definitely like the way to go
Yeah.
because then you'll understand how those sounds like behave and how certain sounds interact with each other and stuff like that. Learn
And
sidechain also. Like
yeah,
just
sidechain.
learn that like first. Look up like a video and whatever like software you're using. Just like look up like a video on how to sidechain in
Maybe
that
you could
software.
like put everything like every kind of effects to see what they do as well.
Yeah,
Like
that's
yeah.
that's another thing. Yeah, is definitely like exploring the effects that are like built into your DAW. Like for me, when I went into Ableton, there's like I'm still using the Ableton like amps because they're like designed by Softtube, so they sound really really nice. So
I'm
all of my
jealous.
303s go through that.
I'm jealous.
Um,
Yeah.
I think maybe you can buy like the Softtube amp as like a VST. I'm not sure, but yeah, just
Uh,
explore your effects because the likeliness of you using them, 5+ years in the future is pretty high. So you might as well get like familiar with everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. The next question. Do you have like any recommendation of a good plugins which is like super niche? Like no one knows about this
Super.
plugin, but this is so good kind of plugins.
I would say probably Devious Machines Infiltrator.
Oh my god, Devious Machines, yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one's like pretty good because speaking of like a whole bunch of effects, that has kind of every effect that you would want in it. From like stuttering to chorus to like really good sounding filters and things like that.
Yeah, I
And you can
use I use Duck from Devious Machines
I
for
see.
like
Oh,
MIDI
oh yeah,
sidechaining.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. It has look ahead, which is really useful.
You said
Um,
Infiltrator, right?
yeah, Infiltrator.
Okay.
It's kind of like it's like D Blue Glitch but better. Like,
Yeah. Like
um, but it has like so many effects in it that you could just use the effects just as themselves, like without all the sequencing stuff. But the sequencing in there is like incredible, and it's really really good for generating ideas. So
do you use Shaperbox by Cable Guys as well? Like
I've used Shaperbox a bit, but
mhm.
these days I'm actually using a Max for Live device that's actually free
Oh, okay.
for my sidechain. It's called Duck Buddy.
Mhm.
Um, Someone designed it as like the perfect sidechain or whatever. A5 recommended it to me,
Oh
but
shit, yeah.
yeah, it's really really good, and it has look ahead, and you can like draw your own like shape
Maybe
and stuff.
maybe we could like maybe we could recommend Volume Shaper. Oh,
Yeah, Volume Shaper is good, but
yeah.
if you do have Ableton, and you want to have like something kind of like Shaperbox or what's it called, Kickstart or something like
Kickstart,
that,
yeah.
then probably your best bet is to just go download Duck Buddy because it's 100% free.
Okay, I'm gonna link to Duck Body. Is it this one? Slink?
Yeah, Slink
Okay.
made it.
I'm gonna put a link on it. So if you want it, you can download freely here.
It's really really good.
Okay. Do you have anything else, or like anything like VST synth or any like effects, or if you don't have anything else, you can just move on.
I would say another one that's like it serves kind of like a similar purpose to Infiltrator is Unfiltered Audio Biome.
Oh yeah, unfiltered. Yeah.
It's really good at it. It also has like a bunch of effects in it, and it's like kind of like a modular workflow, so it's really
Oh
fun.
wait. Oh, there is like a Plugin Alliance version.
Yeah. But also, okay, so there's Biome, which is like kind of the wideband version. It just goes on the whole signal,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's Triad, which is essentially three biomes in one plugin.
Wow.
So you could like process three different bands. So like low, mid, high, you could have
Well,
completely different.
I should try this because I have Plugin Alliance subscription.
Yeah, you should definitely try it. It's like really really good. Also, it does have a randomized feature, which is really cool.
Nice.
So it just like randomizes everything in the plugin. It's really really useful.
I'm gonna try it later. So next question. What do you do like most carefully when you make a bass sound?
I think just like frequency, like balance, and like making the appropriate like cuts and stuff before you do things that are destructive, like soft clipping. Um, like whether you're making like a Reese bass or like a hardcore kick or something that takes up like full spectrum, um, then that's something that you would probably want to send into like a soft clipper or like just a limiter or something. Um, but like soft clippers and limiters and compressors only respond as well as like what they're being fed into. So, if you're making something that like doesn't need a bunch of a certain frequency, like I end up finding like myself either de-essing or cutting around like 3K for things that are like too noisy or too harsh. Um, Doing that stuff before like soft clipping or just like finalization tools or whatever um, it kind of makes or breaks the sound.
Do you use Soothe for the de-essing?
I use Soothe all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
It is
Soothe is
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really really good. I use it in everything. I even like use it in mastering. It's really good.
yeah, Soothe
But
is like essential.
yeah, but I mean, doing something like Soothe before a soft clipper would definitely like help the signal like a bit. But I guess just knowing what to cut, like what to boost, like using your ear and like deciding based on that is probably like it's the best mindset to have. Because there's probably always going to be some sort of frequency that you don't want in a signal that you're like making, especially if it's like something crazy like bass
Neural bass,
design
right?
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
then there's probably going to be something that you don't want in there. Um,
Yeah, it's gonna
so
be
just
like
like
mad phasey.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're using like stereo effects, especially, yeah, but even just on the signal itself, then like you can like look at like the frequency like analyzer stuff like in your EQ or whatever,
Mm.
and if you see like little peaks, then just take like a little bell curve and you know turn it down. Also, I feel like a tip that I can just kind of give randomly is people like high pass and low pass too much.
Mhm. In the
Like
mixing, right?
like it also in like designing sounds.
Mhm.
Um so try and use like shelves more, like a high shelf, low shelf.
Mhm.
Because it affects the phase like completely different. It is a lot less destructive.
Yeah, low. Especially high pass. High pass affects phase so much. Like,
Yeah, yeah, you can like use plugin doctor and like see like the difference between a high pass and like a high shelf or low pass, low shelf, things like that.
sometimes
But
you need high pass. Sometimes you need low pass. So it's
yeah, it's important, but like for me, like if I'm gonna high pass something, then I'm probably gonna use like a analog EQ emulation.
Mhm.
Um, just because, like if I use something like ProQ or EQ8 or something, then it's gonna sound a little bit weird or cut out too much or you know.
It's so
So
hard. It's so hard.
treat your sounds, but use like the right EQ curves, I guess,
Yeah. You have
like
to. You have
before
to.
your final processing.
You have to practice. Like.
Yeah, it takes a
Uh,
lot of time to learn this stuff. This is like y- you're a couple years in
I've
like
I've been
making
I've been
music.
doing I've been doing like music for like 10 years, but I still can't figure out how to mix. So
Yeah, me too.
it's so hard.
Yeah.
Like yeah, there are mixing engineers for a reason. So
Yeah, for sure.
what's the sidechain compressor you what's the sidechain compressor you used on The World Ends Now?
Um this is like
Like
a little
it's like a quid.
yeah, it's a little crazy. I will try to like not comment on like specific songs too much, but
Yeah.
in that era where I was like making like really pumpy style music, then I was just using the utility in Ableton and I was
Oh,
using the gain. Yeah, so I was like manually doing it and just like copying, pasting, like
the
that
automation, right?
works too. Yeah, just automation. So that works too, but these days I'm less crazy, so I just use Duck Buddy.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that was very specific question, but
Yeah, for sure.
they're, the people who questioned it will, find it very useful.
Yeah, at least they didn't ask like a sound design question from like one of those like DDR songs or something.
Yeah. So another question from the same person. Do you have any preset or setting you like a specific one you use for layering a base? Like do you have any template stuff?
Yeah, actually. So, there is a Max for Live device that I kind of swear by that just some random person made, and it's totally free. It's Invisible Band Splitter.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
yeah, basically, for like the people who don't know, then it's like, it is a band splitter, but like in that kind of thing, then usually you have like phase issues, between the bands. But for some reason, this doesn't cause any phase issues. Like you can set the crossover points to anywhere, and just like you can even automate them, and it just doesn't like sound any different, which is great. So I tend to like go for that to process like low, mid, and high differently. So I have like a chain setup for that. I also have like I have this crazy like 3 band OTT that I like made. I like took cause like you know how OTT like came from Ableton's multi-band compressor. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, yeah, multi-band dynamics, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So basically I took 3 of the OTT preset and I made a bunch of macros and I just set crossover points. So it's kind of like a 9 band OTT. But yeah, I tend to use that on
Do you are we going to like publish this for the public? I mean the OTT, handmade OTT by you?
yeah,
Or-
yeah,
Okay, okay, yeah.
I'll
So
throw it out there.
so yeah, we're gonna put in the description
Yeah.
if you want to download anything like being, you know, which was said in this video. Just I'll put everything in description. So
Thank you.
yup, just download everything.
Yeah, just get it all. It's all really good.
Yeah. So this is like random ass question, but what's your favorite food?
That it changes. Like it changes a lot. What what like classification of food?
Like any food, maybe? Like
like
they just said
dinner, dessert, like what's
they just
going on?
they just said food.
That's so broad. That's evil for them to ask that. Damn.
Maybe you can name specific ones for like each categories.
Okay. So there's so much there's so- I can answer like VST questions, like the most complicated shit, but I can't even answer like
Your
food
favorite
questions.
food.
Okay. So breakfast. I really like kanji, like okayu. I
Oh,
really like it a lot.
what kind of
Um,
okayu? What kind of okayu? Like just
like
normal.
Chinese style, like with the 1,000-year egg thing in it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really-
Yeah.
Yeah,
That black
yeah.
one, right?
Yeah, like Tim
Oh.
Ho Wan style. Like I don't know if you've been there, but yeah. Those are really really good. I like dig that a lot. Lunch food. This is really typical of me. I think everyone like knows what I'm gonna say, but it's it's katsu. It's always
Oh yeah,
katsu.
yeah.
But it
Like-
changes though. Like gyukatsu is now my favorite because I got sick of like other katsu.
Oh,
So- Yeah, so just like with a bunch of like wasabi especially, it's
Mhm.
really really good.
nice.
And then
Oh yeah. Gyukatsu. Gyukatsu is so nice.
yeah, like if you get it from like a really nice place, it's really good.
Yeah. Okay.
But dessert probably like onion tofu.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Then the dinner.
Dinner. I guess gyukatsu was dinner. I didn't even
Oh
do
yeah.
lunch. I did this completely out of order. Lunch. What do I like for lunch? Honestly, like just like egg rice. Like I eat it a lot. Like I
Like-
just
Like
Make,
tamago
like,
kake gohan.
just like laogama, egg,
Oh.
and rice, and that's it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm like, that's my favorite thing to eat for lunch.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
This was the most random question I've had.
I know it like
that's so
threw
fun.
me off.
Okay. So I have one more like sound design related questions, and
Yes.
then we are done, I think.
Yeah.
How do you post process your acid bases, and which synths do you usually use to make them? I always love how they sound juicy on new songs.
Juicy.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a way to describe it.
I mean, acid base is juicy though.
I mean, I guess they are kind of juicy. I like
The resonance filters. and
Yeah.
stuff.
But yeah, no, I just at this point, what I end up doing is like I'll think of it in terms of like there's like a top layer to the acid base, and then there's like the sub layer. So I'll just like I'll layer a sub that's playing the pattern underneath it, and I'll like replicate the glide. But and then like the top layer, I'll usually like run through an amp, and then like OTT or something just to like bring out the like the weird stuff that comes from the amp, like the distortions, just to like
It's-
accentuate it.
It's usually TD3, right?
Yeah, I use the TD3 for my acid stuff, but like I'll use that for the top layer, and then
Mhm.
I'll high pass that or like high shelf it,
Mhm.
and then I'll like add on like I'll use Razor for my subs a lot.
Wow,
AU5 like
Razor?
got me on Razor a lot. Yeah.
For sub bass.
Yeah, it's like the best for sub bass because it's additive.
Oh yeah,
And
it's like it has like frequencies in it. Like
Yeah, it's like sine partial like bass. It's really really cool. But the thing is one thing that I noticed with like acid basses is like as you increase the resonance,
Mhm.
then you start to like deviate from the fundamental frequency of
Mhm.
what like note is actually playing. So it makes it a little hard to distinguish what note is going on. So like to prevent that, because you're like going to be throwing it into distortion and stuff, it's going to sound a little bit like, oh, what the hell note is playing. You can like cut the lows from it, and then you can use something like Razor, which is like a very flat like
Mhm.
note, like you can tell what note is going on at all times, and just replicate the pattern going on there. And it's like just a thick sub that kind of like sits underneath your acid bass, and then it'll make it sound like, even on mobile speakers and stuff, it'll make it sound more present.
Mhm.
Because where you're high passing or high shelving is probably like around like 150ish or something, and then everything underneath 150 is just Razor. So from there you could saturate Razor and like extend the harmonic range from there. And then it all together, it'll just sound really good. You just like slap a compressor or like soft clipper on the entire thing, and then it'll just sound good.
Nice.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's usually what I do.
Okay, so we got like every important question.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the interview for like this season.
Yeah.
Nice.
Also, sorry about my voice. It's like there needs to be like a humidifier in here. It's like kind of, it is definitely not juicy in here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. My voice at first was like dying as well.
Yeah,
So.
same. I was like, ugh. But that's just sound design.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to get your like the season.
Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff that I've like made. I think everyone's gonna like enjoy it, especially like people who like use Ableton are gonna be really happy with all like the devices and stuff that I've set up. So
Yeah, and we're gonna have the 1 hour challenge video
yes,
as well soon. So there's
using
gonna be
samples
there
that
are
I've
gonna be
done.
a lot of Ableton content coming.
For sure.
Yeah, and also like a lot of Ableton Max for Live. That's gonna be like pretty much free.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna do like Max for Live stuff, but they are like ADG devices.
Oh yeah, ADG. Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
rack devices. So, yeah.
Yeah, lots of like racks, and they're all like macroed and like made for either beginners or people who just like, like I had made like a filter bank rack that's like really helpful and stuff. So I use it all the time. So I think even more advanced people will like use it a lot.
Nice. So, everything, everything we said about like plugins and stuff are in the description. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
Thank you for Akira Complex.
Thank you.
Nice. And like and subscribe for more content like this, maybe. But
Like and subscribe. Do it.
nice. And then yeah, that's the interview for us. Yeah, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone.
See you guys later.
Matane.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.